What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. What we got going on here, this is a 2005 Honda TRX 500 FA Rubicon. Now this had set at a local Honda dealership here for about, I think 8 to 12 months is what the customer was saying, underneath the tarp, that they completely forgot all about it. And then they told him that basically it had no oil pressure, it needed a new clutch and all this other stuff, and they quoted him a crazy amount of money. So we're gonna try to jump in this thing, figure out if that's actually true or not. Now, apparently they said they had disassembled it and they put it back together. I know it doesn't have any oil in it. I checked that. Now the clutch they have for the HondaMatic here, the centrifugal force clutch, is all apart. Now I'm looking at the shoes on this thing, and I can see the slug you can see the slug right here, but the shoes look absolutely perfect on this thing. There's literally no wear in the clutch drum. I mean, superficial marks right there. I can't even feel that. That's just some superficial marks there. So what we gotta do here, we gotta pull all the bodywork off, the front rack, the sides, the steps. They say they took this apart, but I'm looking around and it honestly doesn't look like they took this thing apart. I mean, if that came from this unit, then yes, it must have came apart. But I mean, I see a few variations when it comes to like where the screws and stuff were on this. I can tell that this side has been moved a little bit from up here to down there. It's not lined up absolutely perfect, but I'm really impressed if they took all this out, pulled the clutch out of this thing, and they told them, of course, it wasn't building oil pressure. So what we got to do, we're going to take that apart, take a look inside, put it all back together, throw some oil in this thing, and check oil pressure on this. Also, guys, I am now an affiliate for emanualsonline.com. You can catch the link right here for this service manual right there. Go check them out, and you'll be able to get a discount on that, also using my discount code or my link right here in this card right there. So, and also I am now a dealer for Rev 6. They rebuild engines, they rebuild transmissions. I use them for the engine rebuild kits. I like to build the motors myself, so I know my hands have been in there, and I know if anything goes wrong, it is on me. It's not on Rev 6 or anything. So I do have a kit I did purchase for this Polaris video I got going on. It may come out before this or way after this, I'm not sure. But anyways, let's jump into this 2005 Honda Rubicon TRX 500 FA and get this thing apart and see what's going on. I'm gonna pull all the bodywork off camera. I could do a time lapse if you want to, but I think I'm just gonna pull all the bodywork off camera, set it off to the side. And when we get to the major stuff on the inside, like pulling the motor apart and stuff like that, I'll start recording that. But it's gonna take forever for me to, not forever, but I don't think you guys want to sit here and watch me pull all the bodywork off this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera, and we get to the major stuff down on the motor, we'll start recording there. All right, guys, got all the bodywork off that I need to take off. I was gonna pull the oil plug just to make sure it was empty, but fresh, brand new oil came out of that. So yeah, that's brand new oil there. So we're gonna go ahead, and that's the oil plug on the engine. We're gonna pull off where the oil filter goes. Pull this off because I know these are pretty loose. So I could definitely tell they've probably been in here, at least I would think. I mean, they're not very tight. I know 10 Newton meters. I loosened that one already, this one, just checking them. That one's loose. Let's check this one. Yeah, they're not very tight, which is, 10 Newton meters isn't very tight on these things. So we'll take all of these loose and we'll see if we can separate this out forwards. I thought I was going to have to separate the tank. I'm still waiting on my service manual for sure, but I'm looking over here and I don't think they actually ever took these, might not have took any of these loose to get that, to separate that oil tank, to actually pull this all off. So let's go ahead and drain the other one real quick. Let me lower you guys down a little bit. We'll pull that oil filter bolt or oil filter deal out there. Let me lower you down a little bit more. Down here. Let's see. That's gonna be like a 14 or a 12, can't really tell. But I got the 17 out of the engine case. That's a 12. I'm gonna go to the other side and do this. That way I'm not blocking the camera here. So they may have actually replaced this clutch in here already. I honestly don't know. And that, like I said, this came from another Honda shop, and apparently the guy told him to stop work on it. So we'll see what's going on with all that. Drop the piece down there, let that drain for a minute. Didn't mean to drop that in the oil. Man, it is windy as crap outside today. I'm gonna throw on some rubber gloves here instead of my regular work gloves, since we're dealing with all this oil. And that's a fresh, clean pan, so I'm pumped about that being fresh oil, even though we do have 6 quarts of fresh oil anyways over here. Get my gloves on. That bad boy's just not wanting to separate right now. All I want's the oil filter out of it. There we go. Now she's starting to come off. Man, come on, wind. Now I can't reuse this oil. Thanks a lot, wind. I know it's got an O-ring around it, but boy, that thing's being a pain. Go back to the other side. All right. There's the spring, there's that guy, set it there. There's the oil filter, which does not look new. Definitely not a new oil filter. So I wonder why there's fresh oil in this thing if there's not a new oil filter. Interesting. Wipe my hands off here. We'll take a look at that oil filter. Make sure there's no debris in there. They basically said this thing wasn't making oil pressure, that his clutch was messed up, a few other things. I mean, you could see it's not a new oil filter. There's a washer that goes on that side, but it's definitely not a new oil filter. That should have been in there if they put fresh oil back in this thing. Very, very interesting. All right, so let me wipe my hands off, and then we'll go ahead and start detaching the lines for the oil reservoir. Wipe some of my tools off here real quick. Get this line off over here. Well, at least it didn't fall in the oil. That's a miracle. These have O-rings on it, so pay attention to those. Looks like they may have nipped that one. Maybe. Maybe not. So that one's out. Put this screw back. Walk around to the other side, get the other one. Look at my ratchet, electric ratchet. I'm gonna have to go with a wrench instead. Yeah, that one was super loose. There we go. That one's out of the way. Put the screw back in there. Trying to tell if these 12s have been removed on here or not. It's really, really hard to tell. Let me open this tank up. Kind of take a peek inside. All right, let's see if this tank will separate. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3. Well, it's missing a bolt here. It's missing a bolt here already, which I did not take those out. 1, 2, so we got four of those. One down here. So let's see if we can't separate those. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here, there, down here, and on the other side. So I'll have to go ahead and come back. You guys okay? You survived that fall? Whew. All right, anyways. We go on and get that. All right, so we got the oil tank out. Basically, I had to leave them all in, pull this back. It just slides right out. So we're gonna set this off to the side. Make sure we don't get anything in it. There we go there. That is off to the side. Now our next thing we gotta do, we'll check these O-rings out. O-rings look pretty good up front, sealed. Again, like I said, it was missing a couple of bolts. So let's walk to this side. This side, I think you'll have a better view. You can see in there a lot better. But it was missing a couple bolts on the other side. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna take this guy off here, over here for the shift linkage, take the knuckle off, and get that all out of the way. That way we don't have any of that in the way. Because this is probably gonna, well, yeah, I'll take that knuckle off. This piece should come out, I believe. Should stay in here. I can't remember. I'll have to look. But again, we'll pull all the 8s off of that all the way around, and we'll go ahead and slide that case cover out. All right, so I got all the bolts loose around this thing. Let's see if we can slide this guy out. Like I said, they said it had no oil pressure, needed a clutch. Have I seen a new clutch in here? No. So I'm gonna go ahead and lightly tap on this thing with a dead blow hammer to get it separated. It feels like it's got sealant on it, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'd rather go back in and take a look at everything and make sure, right into the oil. The one I didn't want to hit was that one, and I hit it anyways. That's all right. Little oil, never hurt anybody. It's gonna get fresh oil regardless. Come over to the other side, wipe my hand off here. Give it a few taps. Get this thing to separate a little bit. We'll work it back and forth. My hands are super slick right now from all the oil. But that's all right. So we'll work this back and forth. Give it a little love tap here and there, I guess, because I cannot get my hands to, well, here's a little spot I can push on it. There we go. There's that. Am I missing one? I don't think I'm missing one. Did I could have missed one, but I don't think I did. Just kind of taking a look around. Everything looks like it's good. Got something stopping me. What is stopping me? I'm looking around to see if anything's stopping me. Feels like something's stopping me. All right, let me check my service manual and just double check that I don't have a deal here. All right, so we got the front cover off. What I was struggling with was this bearing right here was coming off of this shaft and came out of the actual case instead of staying in the case, which that's what I was struggling with getting that off. But now it's all back in place. So Honda did replace the clutch. That is a new clutch. Now they're complaining about oil pressure. Everything looks good that I can see. I hadn't seen anything. Now they said it didn't have oil in it, but you guys saw when I took the drain plug out, there was plenty of oil in this thing. So we could see that. We're gonna go ahead and maybe pull on the full start here and see if that oil pump is turning. We pull on that. So now what I get to do is listen to my air compressor for a hot minute, but I get to clean up all of this gasket material. I get to put the front of this thing back on, oil tank back on. Then we get to fill it up with oil and check oil pressure. Now we'll check oil pressure out of this guy right here. That'll be on the left side of the four-wheel when I get this back together. Oil pressure there. I'll tell you in a second when I look at the manual what the oil pressure is supposed to be, but I had to take it apart. I had to make sure that the clutch is actually replacing this thing before I went further. I've had stuff that came from a dealership that said, oh yeah, you know, we did this, and I get there and it actually hasn't been done. Like, I didn't know if this thing was completely missing the clutch or not. The work order said went from a dealership to a shop to me, and it said Honda replaced the clutch. I will always go back and check exactly what the other dealerships have already done to make sure it's actually done. So now I'm gonna go ahead, clean up all this off camera, put some sealant back on it, put it back together, put the oil tank back on. We'll put oil in it, and we'll check oil pressure on this 05 TRX 500 FA, which is a Honda Rubicon. All right, guys, we got the front of this thing sealed back up. It says it takes 4.9 quarts of oil once with the oil filter change. I do have a new oil filter. I got roughly a K&N 111 is what it calls for if you're using a K&N. If you're using an STP, let me walk over here. An STP oil filter. Let's see, there's a Champion oil filter you can use as a P7007, a Fram, a CH6007, Purelator ML16807, K&N 111, and the STP is the S6007. They didn't have a K&N there, so I grabbed an STP one. But again, we're full at it says 4.9. I didn't quite get all that in there yet. I checked my oil level real quick. Where'd my flashlight go? You know where I put my flashlight. It's probably in my pocket here somewhere, one of these pockets. But anyways, I'm trying to look in there. I don't see any oil. We need to run this unit, check it. I mean, I say I don't see oil. I don't see it way at the top. Let me wipe off the dipstick, put it in, take it out. There's the upper level, lower level. We're good. We got to run it for a few minutes. So let's go ahead and put this dipstick back in. We'll put the cap back on. We will fire this thing up, let it run, check to see if the oil is circulating. Now this is one of the oil pressure relief valves there. It has a spring and a plunger. I've checked that. That passageway is clear. And then the oil pressure galley is over here on the left side. You take that out. I, unfortunately, do not have the right thread pitch 10 millimeter adapter for this side over here. So we're gonna fire it up and hopefully everything goes well up there. So let's throw you on the stand. And then of course we'll definitely double check oil level. I did charge the battery overnight. All right, there's that. Neutral lights on. Everything looks good there. All right, guys, so this thing's got a runnability issue right now. I wanna make sure it's idling right and doing what it's supposed to, because it's spitting and sputtering, popping, everything. So I grabbed the carburetor out of it. Let's go ahead and yank this thing apart. Let's see what's going on the inside of this bad boy. It could just be really crappy gas. The gas smells a little old. Go ahead and let this all drain out upside down, whatever, however it wants to come out. I really don't care. And we're gonna go ahead and check the main jet, the pilot jet, and all that other junk. You can just see how dirty the float bowl is on this thing. I need to check actually the mixture screw too before we get too far here. All right. Like I said, we all know this thing. Like I said before, this thing sat for a long time before Honda even looked at it. So let's pull this off, if I can get it out with all this stuff in the way. Bunch of junk down at the bottom of the float bowl. See if you can see that or not. Bunch of junk down the bottom of this float bowl here. Get that off. Whoa, come back. So that float bowl is definitely nasty. Let's check out the main jet. Let's see, that is a 162 main. And then let's check out the pilot. That's most likely our culprit right here, because it's spitting and sputtering on the pilot. It could just be a bad mixture screw adjustment too. And this guy here is a 45. Nope, I can see through the pilot screw, so that's good. So what I'll do, we'll check that mixture screw right there. That's a kind of a D style. I do have an adapter for that goes on my my adjustment tool. This guy here, this little adapter will actually set right on top of here, so I can go underneath there and I can turn that as I need to. It's got a little slot there. So let's see where this thing's set at. So we're gonna go half, 1, we're a little over 1 there, 1, half, 1.5. That's probably not quite far enough out, but let's take it out and we'll blow some compressed air through it. Make sure we get the spring, the O-ring, make sure all that's actually in there like it should be. I'll spray that float ball out with some carb clean. We won't put that in the sonic cleaner. There's that. I see the washer and the O-ring down there. Well, at least a washer anyways. Let's grab a pick. There's the little washer. I do have extra O-rings like this laying around. So if we ever do end up breaking one, or we end up dropping one, or can't find it, or missing one, we can just replace it. The hardest part is getting it out sometimes. I don't like to use compressed air because then it goes flying across the shop. So there's that one. There's the O-ring and the washer, the spring. The needle looks pretty clean. Let's check the slide needle. The slide needle looks good. So all that looks pretty good. It might just been an adjustment there. So let's grab a little bit of compressed air. Grab my air hose up over here. Good. Good. Feel it blowing through the venturi. Whoop. I should have my rubber tip on it. That's good. all that stuff looks pretty good. Good there. Part of the choke circuit. So all that looks pretty good there. Let's pull out this little filter. Make sure it's not clogged. Everything looks great there. Put that filter back in. What we do is press it back in. Done deal there. All right, so I'll take some carb clean that up, put this back together, throw it back in, and we'll adjust that mixture screw to make sure this thing is running optimal. All right, guys, so we got the carburetor installed back in here. Let's fire this thing up and see if that made a difference by cleaning that. Let me find my adapter for the D mixture screw there. If in case I do need to adjust it, I'll be able to get in there. I got it 2.5 turns out. 2, usually pretty good. So let's see how it runs now. Everything is tight. Throttle play is good. Still got a little bit of a miss. Now that definitely could be bad fuel too. Or spark plug. So let's shut it off. Let's check the spark plug in this thing real quick, just to see if it's just crap. And I'll pull a sample of fuel. We'll turn that off. And we'll make sure that the air compressor kicks on. That's always really nice. Blow out anything in the spark plug hole. Wrong spark plug socket. Take a look at that spark plug real quick. Maybe change it out. See if that affects it. It could, like I said again, it could be bad fuel. That spark plug is nasty. All right, I don't know if I have an iridium, but let me look that up real quick. Sorry, I had to cut you guys off there. Customer pulled up to pick up his Defender XMR. I put it, said clutches in. Got a video coming out on that actually, probably before this one. But anyways, so. And go check out my TikTok at Limitless Powersports Sir and Rep. I got a pretty cool little short I'm gonna put up there. I'll probably put it on here on YouTube too. What he uses to pull around his Can-Am Defender. It's pretty interesting. All right, but anyways, let's fire this thing up and see. All right, so choke it a little bit. I'm gonna walk around. Let's walk around and take a look and make sure that this thing is actually filling up, circulating in the oil tank here. Let me grab a light here because I don't have a light. Throw this thing on my head. Yeah. All right, let's take a look down in here. See if it's actually circulating like it says it's supposed to. Neutral lights on. Let's see, look, turn the little flashlight part on. It is circulating, I can see that. It's dripping out from the top. Coming back to the line over there. We'll let it run for a few minutes and we'll come back and check the oil level on it. Now this thing does take 4.9 quarts. It is a little low at the moment. Like I said, I didn't put it all in there, because this only holds so much. So I'll let this run here for a minute. Sounds pretty good. top end's a little ticky, not bad. It does not have its air box on it, but top end's a little ticky, but that's all right. Valve clearance is probably a little bit loose, but we're gonna let it run here for a little bit, and we'll come back and check to see what's going on. All right, guys, so got a new spark plug in it. I adjusted the mixture screw on that a little bit more. So let's take a look down in the, this is the next day. I had to wait to get the spark plug from Honda. So you can see the oil is down around here now. So let's fire this thing up. Turn the key on here. Let's see if this stuff is circulating again. Now I can see oil dripping down. Not at a rapid pace, but we'll see what happens here. So again, that's telling me the oil pump is working and it's circulating. So I'm gonna let this run about 3 minutes. We'll shut it off and check oil height again. All right, guys, so I'm back at my manuals here. Again, I am an affiliate of eManuals Online. I'll leave a link right here. Again, I'll give you a discount code. Should be Limitless22 for 22% off any manuals online. I did have it on the TV, but I lost my internet connection. But again, great manuals, man. They got millions of manuals for a lot of different stuff. Check them out at emanualsonline.com. Again, use my link right here and Limitless Powersports 22 to get yourself 20% off. So I'm gonna go through here, look at a couple more things. The oil level is correct. I didn't do that on camera, but now I gotta look into the shifting because I know oil pressure has a lot to do with shifting on this thing. This thing did drop out of gear, and the customer did call me today, actually. He called me today. And I finally got the full story of what went on. Honda said it needed a clutch because it dropped out of gear. They got in there and replaced the clutch, and they called and said it needed a oil pump because the oil pump runs, the oil pressure runs the gear mechanism in this deal for the HondaMatic. And they put it on the back burner. Didn't hear from him for a while because he never got a phone call. Again, that's why he wanted a second opinion. So he dropped it off here. And so now it looks like we may need an oil pump. They wanted to charge him $2,000 to install an oil pump on here. I mean, an oil pump is a couple $100. A full assembly oil pump is only a couple $100 and a few hours of labor to put it in. But $2,000, that's quite a bit. So I'm gonna look up a little bit here on my manuals from emanualsonline.com. See what I need to look at there, and you know, try to figure out what may be the problem because it's not building enough oil pressure to run the HondaMatic. So we're probably gonna end up putting an oil pump in this thing most likely. And then again, guys, I also am a dealer for Rev 6. So if you need any rebuild kits, let me know. And I'm gonna check this manual and look at my and order some parts probably for this 05 Honda Rubicon. All right, guys, so we got the 05 Honda Rubicon. Told the customer basically after all that stuff, we all knew the oil pump was probably bad. That's what drives the HondaMatic transmission in these things. So he opted out fixing it. Once again, that's okay because I bought it. I bought the unit from him. So now we will pull the motor out of this thing, put a new oil pump in it, new O-rings, reseal this thing back up, throw it back in. But I'm gonna call this end of part 1. Part 2 will be getting the motor out of this thing and putting an oil pump in it. Got a great deal on it. So like I said, unfortunately, he just didn't want to spend the money to fix it. So I just, you know, I'm a guy, man, it got dark in here. I'm a guy who doesn't like to throw things out. It's got great tires on it. It's been a good unit. I think it's got 3,000 miles on it. Motor sounds good. It fires up and runs great. You know, we went through the carburetor. I did a bunch of different things trying to make sure that there wasn't anything wrong with the oil lines. We can see it circulating a little bit, but it wasn't building up enough pressure to actually come out of the oil pressure galley for it or run the HondaMatic transmission in that thing. I think parts are roughly going to be, I think I said $400 and something because I put a spark plug in it and a new oil filter. We're gonna save the brand new oil I put in it and we'll put that in a container and I'll seal that off. But this will be end of part 1. Part 2 will be getting that motor apart and putting it back together and taking it for a ride. Again, guys, I know a bunch of you guys are like, oh, I already could have told you that, blah, blah. I have to go through and do all these things. So I figure, why not record it for you anyways? It's kind of a crappy situation. But again, I did buy it from the customer. I am going to fix it and then decide what to do from there. Keep it, sell it. I've got a bunch of stuff in the shop already, or in my garage, that I've bought from my customers and fixed, and I don't know, I have a hard time parting away with it. I need to part ways with it. Again, guys, hats in stock, shirts in stock. If you want one, let me know. 30 for hats, 25 for shirts. Again, leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down for this video. I'm probably gonna get a lot of thumbs down and bad comments on this one. It was I didn't expect them to opt out, because honestly, I think it's gonna be about $1,500 and everything to probably labor parts to fix that. But he just doesn't want to spend that money on it. I think he's got a few other ones probably, or just doesn't really want to deal with it anymore. I understand. But again, thank you for everybody that has subscribed. Again, I do leave a link. I can't talk. I am an affiliate now of emanualsonline.com. So I'll leave my discount code right here. Jump on there if you need a service manual for just about anything. And if they don't have it, just email them, man, and they will make it happen. Use my link to get a discount, and I would appreciate it, guys. And again, I'm also a dealer for Rev 6, engine parts and rebuilds and all that good stuff. Like I said, I just buy the rebuild kits. I like to rebuild the motors myself. But again, guys, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on part 2 of this 05 Honda TRX 500 FA Rubicon. See ya.